Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. And tonight we're talking to a retailer with Marvin. So
What's
Marvin,
up?
so please introduce yourself, Marvin. Everybody knows who I am.
Marvin Wynn, writer of The Edge from Comicsburg.
All right, cool. And our illustrious retailer. How you doing, Joe? Do me a favor.
Doing well. Doing
Please.
well.
Oh, good, great. Please introduce yourself.
All right, folks. My name is my government name is Joseph Woods, but I go by the name of Joe Jam Zero, the Soul Geek and Superhero, owner of the Comic Den in Los Angeles, California.
Nice. All right, cool. Marvin, you want to start?
Sure. Generally my first question out the gate when we're talking to retailers is, how do you serve like the community as a whole? So not just as a comic retailer, as a community outreach. I'm finding that the comic shop has in the past for me been a third space, and I think that over time that kind of disappeared. And I feel like some retailers are bringing that back. So do you put yourself into that kind of mold?
Well, I think one of my biggest attributes towards being a comic book store owner is I thrive on community. I thrive on growth of community. One of the things we do here at the Comic Den is like for reaching out to our youth. I take boxes of comic books and donate them to middle schools and high schools and elementary schools. I throw community events here. We've thrown 3 so far where we've had people cosplay and, as superheroes and heroes, we bring raffles. We have games here. We also have an expansion that we're doing here to the store where we're going to be adding tables and to expand on the trading card media and starting to basically really tap into every part. But the thing that I'm the most proud of about this store, though, is that excuse me, before I opened up, I was already part of a nonprofit that I created called Soul Geek Empowerment. Soul Geek Empowerment went to schools that we were partnered with, from Linwood to Compton to Watts. And I would set up 2 tables, a table to give out free comic books and another table where children can come over or young adults would come over. They would color and they would solve puzzles, And that expanded me to going to the Department of Mental Health, where we got a connection with them, as well as to local libraries. And I thrive on that because to this day, I still get invitations from libraries to drop off books. I get invitations to do speeches at mentorship programs. And so it's like I'm using this comic book muse to build community. And plus, I would add on top of that, what a couple of my customers were just telling me just yesterday. They were saying, since I've been coming here, I feel so comfortable. I try to do this kind of like a cheers type of thing. I try to know everybody by name, even though that's hard to do sometimes. But they're building friends from within the Comic Den to where they're connecting with other people, And I think that that's the key of what I've been really trying to do here since I've owned this store, is build that community, build those links, no matter what your background, race, origin, ethnicity might be. We all have this one thing in common that we can all relate to.
Right. Awesome. That's awesome. It's good to hear.
Cool. All right. So, we're indie guys. So that's usually my take on it. So is like, I was just wondering, like, what is, I don't even know if you have an idea, but, like, what is your percentage of indie books that you sell a month? Right? Like when you're selling indies, like, is it like 30%, 40%, 10%?
Well, I can go out and say this. I would probably say I have a good, on a good range, about between 20 to 25% movement on indie. And the reason why I say that is that because Marvel and DC, I do carry those and I have those in the place. But when you first walk into the Comic Den, the first thing you're going to see is local writers and creators. That's like the first thing that you see. Second to, I'm a very God-driven man, so I have these Bible-related comics because I believe that God blessed me to open up this place. So I have Bible comics when you first walk inside the store. But to the right of that, there's the indie writers and creators. So that's the first thing that captures people's eyes when they walk inside the store. And my relationship with indie writers are sometimes we let them do small videos, 30 seconds to explain their book inside the store, and I'm in the background improving it. Most of the guys I've met, I know some of them personally. I build great relationships up with those guys, not just from Los Angeles, but from Atlanta, New York. I have a guy from Paris who has his book in here. And, you just got to be a local guy for me to really support you. And you got to have that drive and ambition where you really love your stuff and you feel like it'll really do me some good having your book inside the store. I look for that talent simply because Marvel and DC I look at it like this. We need them to draw people in to reach your stuff. So yeah, they're going to come in to get the absolute Batman and the new Armageddon story arc or the X-Men and stuff, but they're also looking around to see what else is there, and that's a perfect time to where I have to introduce those people to you guys' books, for example. And the second thing, what people often tell me is that all my local writers and creators, I can't speak for other bookstores, but they tell me that I'm one of the only few people that call them several times because I'm constantly recopping on this stuff. I'm constantly buying again, I do ask if I don't know your book, if I've never heard of it before, and if you really want to put your book in my store and you have confidence in it, donate some copies to me. I'll take that money that I make, I'll give it right back to you and buy double. So if you donated 5 books to me and I sell those 5, I'm buying 10 from you, just to build that wheel of business with you, to let you know that I'm serious about doing my part on my end. If your book don't move, then we can talk about another way to market it, maybe get you inside the store. If the book doesn't move at that point, I can't do much about it at that point, and I don't want to have it taking up real estate inside the store. Maybe it's just not the community for your book to have, a movement in. But I can proudly say that all my indie guys, I have movement on their books, and that's the only way. I come from behind the counter myself, and I talk like, if I know your story and I know you, JD or Marvin, I'd be like, hey, this is my guy. He got this going on. He's a great guy. Check out what he's envisioning and telling in your story, and I'll give him a snapshot of what you're writing about. 9 times out of 10, and I always ask for a kiss to the community. So if you bring your book in my store, I need signatures, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my kiss to the community, to saying that I have a great relationship with you guys, and that, this is a book that I care about, and I know the guy who's bringing the book inside the store. That's how I push indies out of my store, through community and building that relationship, not with just the reader, because readers are always looking for something different. From my experience from working in this store, they walk around the indie table and they're looking for that new thing to grab them. Oh, what is this cover about? What is this book about? What is this book about? Because they already know Superman, Batman, and all. They're looking for that next big thing, and that's how I get a chance to introduce indie comics to people that are coming inside the store.
Cool. So, in saying that, when you say you want people to send you 5 copies, you may have opened the floodgates, because every time we talk on this show, one of the things we always ask is, how does someone contact you to get into the store? And we always do say, do you want people to call you? Do you want them to send an email? Should they send a PDF? And then we have to then break that down and say, don't call on Wednesday. Don't call on Tuesday. Mondays and Thursdays, usually those days to call.
Yeah.
Unless you're not open on Mondays, and then if you're closed on Mondays, then go to Thursdays. Then one guy was like, "Oh, well, call me on Saturday," and then he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to answer the phone. Leave a message."
Well, you know what? I don't throw a rock and hide my hand. I'm kind of like my grandma, how she raised me. If I say I'm gonna do something, the only thing that restrains me from doing things is time, being a parent, running a business, and things like that. But I look at it like this. I want to look at your book because, I want to make sure it has the right content in there for me to honor carrying, as well as, it's something I can speak to, because you see, you can give 100 bookstores your book, you know what I'm saying? And some bookstores are just going to let your book sit out on the shelf until someone is interested in buying it. You know, maybe you got an attractive cover, maybe they're just looking for something interesting to read. But when when you put your book in my store, which I'm building a bigger indie section, it's going to be face front, you know, and then I want to be able to come from behind that counter while they're looking and then represent your book with my voice, you know, as a support link to help your book sell inside my store. My thing is this: books don't make me money holding up real estate. I need movement on those books, you know. So my goal is to try to get that book into somebody's hands, and if they love it, next thing you know, man, you don't know how many people's coming to me. Oh, I want to read more from this guy. They're dropping another story. Don't you want me to send you an email like, hey, dude, you know what I'm saying? Hey, your customers out here love your book. You working on the second part, or what are you working on next? Because you are building a fan base over here at my store.
Awesome. Just warning you that you opened the floodgates. You said send me 5 copies.
Hey, so that's initial to get your book inside the store. But if most of the people send me an email and they'll say, hey, check out my comic, here's a PDF file of it. Mm-hmm. Tell me what it's about. Tell me what's going on, you know, because I have different type of readers. And, you know, I have a young lady who had the book in here, and she did a short video. She said, if you like Sailor Moon and Batman Beyond, this is the book for you. You know what I'm saying? That brought people in the store to want to buy that book. You know, if I like your book so much, I'll go on there and drop like, hey, you guys got to check this book out. You guys don't want to miss out on what this brother, you guys definitely want to pick up what this person is putting down, you know? So let me check it out. Let me see what it's about. You know what I'm saying? If I see if it's a point of salesmanship for me, I can push it, dude. I mean, I sell stuff for a living. I've done that before. I even opened up my comic book store. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of, to me, running a store, is knowing how to sell stuff, dude.
Right. Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay. So, you know, being obviously you've been how long? Just real quick, like how long have you had your store open?
Well, I'm chopping down the wood to year number 2.
Nice.
I've collected comic books. I'm gonna age myself for like almost 50 years, dude. You know what I'm saying? I've loved comic. My mama moved into a house. She bought her first house in Watts in the 70s, and we went to a mom and pop store. She bought my first comic book for me. It was over for me at that day right there. From that point on, I love comics. I've been a retail manager most of my careers. I've run very high-end stores and made a lot of companies millions of dollars. I just decided to challenge myself and see if I can do as well as I do for other companies for myself. Plus, I'm trying to inspire my son to go after what he loves to do. You know, if he see his dad trying to do it, you know what I'm saying, maybe he'll go after doing what he loves to do. Right now, he loves video games, so we enrolled him in the STEAM program, and maybe he'll start making his own video games one day.
Nice.
Oh, cool. All right. So as a retailer, do you prefer single issues or trades? Like, which one makes more sense for you?
Well, not until I start running this store, honestly, JD, did I understand the buyer of trades, you know, and I've experienced bookstores that were opening, and they were always like their weakest section was their trade section. You know, their store didn't look as full because they didn't have a lot of trades in their store. So I invested in trades to make sure I wanted my store to look already open. I wanted it to look somewhat full already, and a lot of people say that about the Comic Den. The store doesn't look new. It looked like it's always been here, and that was my whole mind state, to make a store look full. That's the way I came up as a retail manager. Make your store look full, you know. But when it comes to that, you know, I actually am a issue month to month reader. You know, I read month to month. I can't wait to see what happens next in that. But when I had several customers coming in looking for stuff that I didn't have, I understood the nature of what a trade paperback reader is. They're not going to wait. They're willing to wait, you know, till an issue does 6 issues, and then they'll read. They got the patience to do it. I'm not. If the book is good, I got to find out what happened the next month. But there are actually a large assortment, a populace of individuals that just want to read trades, and I had to respect that. So I had to up my trade paperback game up.
Yeah, trust me, I know that's me. I'm a trade guy. I'm a trade guy. Yeah.
Welcome to the populace, man.
Yeah, man. Omnibuses, the compendiums, I love those. Because I have a huge collection of individual issues,
right?
And I've been collecting probably about 50 years too. But I lost a portion of it to floods,
wow.
Yeah, man, I lost a lot of books. I lost my Hulk 181. I lost my entire Thor run from back in the day. We're talking about all the Walter Simonsons.
Wow,
yeah, that
first
hurt.
Beta Ray Bill, all that stuff.
I have 5 copies.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, signed by Walter.
Wow.
Yeah, that hurt.
I feel for you, bro.
Yeah, that hurt. So ever since then, I mean, and to be honest, I'm a writer, so I'm more interested in the stories anyway. Like that stuff is just paper. Like I want the story, so I can pull it off a shelf and read it. That's why, because going through it, how it is. You go through a collection, it's rough, man. You want to reread Daredevil 168, man. You got to go through the collection. You're like, oh, damn, where is that thing?
And that's where I respect trades, because when I want to go back and binge read something, I'll go grab a trade for it. I mean, I'm not digging through all my freaking boxes going to look for a freaking issue. What I'm saying? That's too much work, and that's the same way, when someone asks me about the digital market, I think the digital market is good for what it's for. If you want to just go push a few buttons and grab that title, which I've done that before, then that's fine. But someone asked me, what did I feel like digital comics were going to take over the market? I told them, I was like, if digital comics was going to take over the market, they would have already done it. What I'm saying? It would have already came and took that space out. But people still love nostalgic coming inside a comic book store, picking up that book and reading it. As long as we still have the element of that into our community, I'll still be around, and so will you guys still be writing comic books that you guys have to print to have published out to get inside the stores.
Yeah,
right. And we're on the crowdfunding platforms. So and the digital works in that case because of international shipping.
Right.
So I kind of I've shipped minuscule things overseas for a lot of money. And I feel bad. Like someone gets they bought 4 books and the shipping's like $70.
Yeah.
I've got it. I just throw extra stuff in there to try to fill out the box just to make it make sense. It's so bad as kind of be someone who's producing something and you have customers around the world.
Right.
And it's prohibited to get them things. So the question is that, do you support any crowdfundings for the store?
Well, yeah, and I haven't had the opportunity to really grow in that area, which I'm always looking for new growth opportunity. But on my TikTok platform, I get people that want to buy books from me from international parts of the world, and I've created it to where my shipping company that I go for, I prepared it to be able to get the lowest price possible to ship out. But also when I do that, I also try to make sure, kind of like what you do, I'm giving extra and then you have to express, the books I've sent out, I've even sent cards to express how honorable that is for someone to want to support just little old me running this store over here in Los Angeles and want to buy and support this store. I mean, that is a privilege and an honor, and people like that make your business. I come from a bookstore called Golden Apple, and I give big ups to Golden Apple because they are the reason why they inspired me to want to open up my own store. And they would have customers like Samuel Jackson, Keanu Reeves, and stuff like that come inside your store for the pullest customers and stuff. And the main thing that I notice about that is that it's great to have those kind of influences inside your store. I have celebrities that shop here, and they know my stance on this. I mean, I'm happy to see them when they come in. You know, I mean, we've had Sterling K. Brown visit the store before. We've had some good faces come inside the store, but nothing is more important to me than that weekly pull customer, that customer that's in your store every single week, making sure your lights stay on, your doors are open. Those are my celebrities. You know, your customers are your weight. You know what I'm saying? Your customers are your true business. And the moment any owner of anybody forgets that, they've lost their way, in my opinion. You know, so to run this kind of business, you have to have the energy, the appreciation to know that anybody who walks in that door is another, you know, comic denizen, another person that's helping support your business. So if they're willing to buy books from you and you ship them to another part of the world and stuff like that, that's nothing but an honor, dude.
Yeah. And that's to say is that's the one thing is that I want to make sure that I take care of everyone who is
exactly.
We all work 40 hours a week or more to make money, and there's other things they be spending their money on. They could be like, oh man, I'm gonna go out and buy that next Madden football game instead of spending money on these comic books that I gotta have to pay $60 to ship across the ocean.
Yeah.
No, it's when I was a CVS pharmacy manager, you know, I mean, freaking 10,000 stores, you know, they're a big conglomerate company. And in the area I was working in, there was like 4 other stores around me, you know, and I used to tell my team, I was like, what can we do to make our store more unique than these other stores? We all sell the same stuff. We all got the same sale. All the stores are marketed the same. You walk in and everything is so similar. I like the best impact we can make on this store compared to the other stores is how we treat people when they come in.
Right.
And that's how I won several customer service awards of the year, because I just made people feel welcome where they come from. You know, it's funny when a person pays for their stuff, because they do that here and you see the elbow drop to the counter. You know what I'm saying? That tells you that that person is comfortable in your store and they want to talk more about they just don't want to shop and go. You know what I'm saying? They feel comfortable. They like the atmosphere and they want to talk the talk and hang out in the store for a little bit more longer than what they came in to just grab something and just walk out, you know? And I think that you build those levels of comfort with your people, they'll bring you more people. Still, to me, the best service is word of mouth. When you can go tell that person, like, hey, go to this store, this dude is really solid, I have a great time. That's still the best reviews you can ever get to give someone.
Cool. So as far, like I said, I'm so focused on the indie stuff. So as a retailer, what do you consider a good cover price for an indie comic book? I mean, because I've seen them vacillate all over the place, right? You got $4.95 books, you got some books moving up to $5.99, even $6.99, right? What do you think makes sense for you and your client base?
Well, this is why I asked for those autographed kisses, you know, because sometimes some of my retailer books they're not the price of the average, you know, published Marvel, DC, Image book. I mean, some of them are $15, $20, $30, you know. So the main thing you want, I think a lot of people in my community understands, like, this is not a big brand that they're pushing out where they're just making 400 and 500,000 copies of a particular book. Like, you are like one of a few many that owns this book. So, I mean, I sell, like, my buddy, you know, I guess I could put him out on blast. I sell, like, a friend of mine's New Little Voice. He has a book called Keisha Demon Eater. His book is like $30, you know, but he sends me autographed copies, and people look inside the book, they see how good it is, and they buy it, you know. Same thing with guys like David Crownson and Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. You know, those are books that, you know, they're priced up there. I mean, Impound, Britt Tracy Sands, his book is like $30, you know, depending on the level of the books that you get it. But once people open them up and they see the quality of the paper and they like the story and the art, the price kind of goes out the window, because now people just want that book. Plus, I'm back there cheerleading and telling them what a good book it is, giving them a snapshot of what the story is about. And then price kind of like goes away because people just want to read quality and they don't mind spending a little extra if they're getting the quality that they're reading.
Okay. And that's an investment in the product, investment in the person.
Exactly. So, I've seen that happen so many times where people will come in. Like, I think one of the most expensive books I've had in the store is it's probably Tyler Martin's The Antagonist. That book is like $60, and I've had people look at the book, go through this, look at it, look at the art, and come back and ask me, when is he doing more stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't about the price. They loved the quality of the work that the writer put in and the artist.
Was it a trade or just a regular?
It's a trade, yeah.
Oh, it's a trade. Okay.
Yeah. Seven issues.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
Okay.
Marvin, you want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we Marvin and I go back and forth. We're like, oh, all right. Well, you already answered it. Here's something. So going back to the price points, like, do you feel that alternative covers help? Right?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Honestly, Marvin and JD, I've seen. I'll give you a perfect example. When Deadpool Batman came out, there were 22 covers that I put out on the floor. And I looked at that book because I invested big in that. I was kind of encouraged to do that. I listened to some of my mentors, so I invested big in that. And I was a little bit skeptical that those books were going to sell, but I sold every single one of those copies, every single one. I don't have a leg to stand on one of those books. And it was simply because the covers were selling, people were buying 5, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, anywhere between 2 to 15, almost 20 of those covers if they were getting the entire collection, because the cover art was what they were most encouraged and influenced to buy. And that's how I started off collecting comics. I was a big John Byrne, George Perez nut. Wherever they went, I went. You know what I'm saying? When Byrne left Marvel, I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna stick with a few Marvel titles, but let me go over here and see what Byrne is doing over with Superman. See what Perez is doing over here with Wonder Woman. And just those books alone, just those artists alone move me. So I know cover art can be just as much as a movement. And a lot of people didn't even realize that when Byrne came back and did Man of Steel, that was the first variant cover, because he had one cover with the chest out like this and another cover that was a split. That is the first variant comic that ever came out back in 81, 82, somewhere in the early 80s, I think.
Yeah. That's interesting. Like, let me ask you, here's something that has nothing to do with anything, but I'm just curious. Those Frank Miller covers, how do they do? The one
you want to go there.
I definitely want to go there. Because I have thoughts as to why he does them the way he does.
Right.
Like,
this is what I can say about Frank's covers. Some people, I think, are diehard Frank Miller fans. I'm a diehard Frank Miller fan, and there are some covers that I like that Frank Miller does, depending on the perspective in the silhouette in the art style that he used. But there's been some covers. There was this one Wolverine book, man. I did not know what the hell was going on that cover. I was like, why is this cover? And God bless Frank. I know he's a legend. I don't like downing people, for putting their work into something, because somewhere down the line somebody put their time to do that, but some of his art is not attractive as it used to be when he was drawing like Daredevil and stuff like that in the Wolverine books, but some of his covers, I had a 1 in 200 what was that book called? It's the Avengers. I forget the name of the book, but it was a dope cover. He was a side of him jumping down with the shield. So the simpler the cover is not that bad, And I think the more complicated his art style gets is when it becomes more unattractive, dude.
Gotcha.
Right, but a lot of those stuff were churned in, right? No backgrounds, just whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, it's Frank, man.
Like, he recently did a TMNT cover that looked really good.
Yeah, it's
That
you
I
see,
like.
that's what I'm saying. It's a hit
Yeah.
or miss sometimes, you know. I think he should stop drawing Wolverine covers. I would tell him that to his face. As I say, man, I
Mhm.
love you. Give me a hug before I tell you this. But dudes, please stop drawing Wolverine. You know, keep drawing some other stuff, but don't draw no more Wolverine covers.
No, because it's funny. I think he draws them like that because in the end, because here's the way I look at it, right? I think Frank's some kind of weird genius, right? And I
Okay.
think what it is that when he puts out one of those covers, everybody sees him, everybody's shocked, right? They're like, what the hell is that? Right? And you got 22 other covers that are coming out with that cover. His is the only one anybody's talking about.
That's true, but
Nobody's talking about those other covers.
Well, yeah, because like it's almost like being on American Idol. You're either that good of a singer or that bad of a singer.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But people are still talking about it. That's the funniest.
Exactly.
I just find it funny, because I would like to hear his thoughts on it.
I would too, and the closest ties I've ever had with Frank is like my family over at Golden Apple. They actually have a great relationship with Frank Miller. I would love to have kind of like been in the store at one time when he was ever in there, because that would be probably like one of the questions I asked. Like, what is your perspective on some of your covers, sir? I would sir.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
what is your perspective on some of your covers? I would love to know your dancing formula around you, how and why you do covers the way you do them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's just, like I said, it's always one of those things where it's just like, I'm always curious as to how those books do in the store, right? Do they sell out?
Well, for the last Spider-Man, Superman that he had, I think it was like a 1 in 50. Mm-hmm. I have 4 of them, and I'm sitting on 1 right now. Okay. So, it people come in because of like you said, it's the unique art style. It's it's the legend of what he's made his name from over the years. And then some of his covers are just like I said, they just look good. He did a Moon Knight cover that I thought was very nice. He did a Blade cover. I didn't think it was that cool, but other people liked it. So what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. I might not like something that somebody like a lot of. So I just sell it. I just say, okay, you want to buy it? What I'm saying? Here it is for you to pick up and get,
Gotcha.
But personally, I some of his covers work for me and some of them don't.
Right. Well, yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah. Marvy,
yep.
What do you got?
So you brought up Golden Apple. So do you feel like you have like a good working relationship with all the other comic shops in LA?
Oh yeah. Honestly, I got I've gotten so much mentorship from these 3 bookstores here. Golden Apple, of course, Ryan Leibowitz, his wife Kendra, their mother Sharon, my buddy Joseph over there. They're all there. I feel like that's my brother. I feel like they're family to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've made their Christmas list. They're on my Christmas list. We look out for each other, because I shopped in that store for many years, and I feel like I was more than a customer over there. And like I said, just overall, just kind of like looking at how they conduct business, it encouraged me to want to do my thing over here because I love comics so much. But where I've learned like a lot of stuff from is from June and his team over at Comic Bug. June kind of told me in so many words, don't be afraid to have more than enough of certain books, because they will sell, So if I bought 100 Absolute Batmans and then sold only probably like 60 of them and I'm sitting on 40 copies, don't be afraid of that because they will sell over a period of time, which they have done, several times over, So, and then there's Timmy, the owner of Arsenal Comics. Timmy, he has 2 stores out in the Valley, and he taught me, try to control payroll, do as much as you can by yourself as you can, but know when to call out for help. And they've been great guys when I've ran low on books. They've kind of helped me out get certain titles, books that I was low on. They've been very helpful to me. And then if you go to this event called Comics Pro, which I haven't been to one yet, but I had a couple of those guys come to my store because I guess my social media following gets me a little more attention, than probably some of the other stores and stuff like that. And so they came and paid me a visit, and I connected with some of those guys. And some of those guys have really encouraged me to go to next year of Comics Pro. Oh, and I cannot forget that it would be deadly wrong for me. I gotta mention my guys, Mike and Marquise over at Blurred's Underground out in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Those dudes are awesome. I love those guys, because Mike was one of the first guys when I opened up. He called me and congratulated me. And he was another black comic book store owner. And he was kind of telling me, like, there's not a lot of black comic book store owners out there. I hope I want you to do well. And we've kind of like stayed in contact with each other since then.
Cool. So you did Big Art Comics Pro. I did it twice when they were here in Pittsburgh. I'm hoping to get out to the next one. If it's going, I'm assuming it's going to be in LA again next year because they usually do 2 years in a row in the same.
Well, they've done 2 years out here already, so It's got to be somewhere else. So wherever it is, I'm taking a trip, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm going on a trip next year. So I committed to it. I'm just right now. The best thing you can do as a retailer is find the right POS system. There is 4 major good systems out there. There is Comics Hub, Comic Shop Assist, Comics. I think it's Managed Comics. Comic Suite. And my goal right now is I'm in search of the right system right now, because then that way I'm going to build and scale my team up. And then when I tell them I'm flying out to wherever the next Comics Pro is, I want them to have control over the store and don't sell a $40 comic book for $4. We can't afford that to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the challenge, and that's one of the things that Comics Pro is trying to do is the comic standard.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have to enter in all those barcodes into a system where someone could accidentally put the wrong price on it once they scan it.
Right.
So that's a major challenge with where Comicsburg is helping with comic standard. So I'm really glad that we got involved in that, where we can, like, it'd be like a library or regular bookstores where no matter where the barcode comes from, the price is always the same. It has everything in there. You don't have to scan it. Oh, look at the barcode. Put the price in. Put the name in. What's the book about? Put the price in. Put the name. It's like it's crazy after someone like me has already done that work.
Yeah,
I did that work when I did the ISBN.
No, I opened up this store on a generic system, knowing I was like, I should have done it. I should have invested in the company, but I was trying to preserve funds at this particular time. And I'm such an inventory jerk. What I'm saying? I'm even when I have entered books into this system, I put, oh, this is Steve McNiven cover D and all this kind of stuff like that. And because I like to know what books are selling, what I'm saying? And I like my inventory to be very accurate, and the only time I have conflict with that is when I have a Shopify account. I have to constantly have my numbers adjusted and stuff like that. So I've come up with a formula to defeat that, which is working now, where I don't always put out the brand new books exactly the week of. I'll put them out like a day or two later after I see what my walk-ins are getting, and then I'll throw like my higher number quantities on my Spotify store, and that's been working for me recently, but my goal right now is to invest in one of these newer systems where, like you were saying, just scan the barcode, the issue, the variant, all that kind of stuff pops up. And I've been visiting the 2 stores that has Comic Shop Assist. And Comic Suite is no longer around. You know that, right, Marvin?
No, they got absorbed?
Well, when Diamond went out of business, You know,
Oh
because
yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
so a lot of stores had to walk away from Comic Sweep, you know. So that would have been, you know, they almost got me though, dude, because when I opened up my store, Diamond was still around, you know, and that was an option to buy that, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But I would have been lubed and screwed if I would have bought that and invested all that money, and
Yeah,
then they're out of business in their system, because all the stores that were Comic Sweep, they end up doing a lot of data entry, you know,
yeah.
on putting their books inside the system, because the program wasn't available to them no more.
Right. Yeah,
Mm.
I've seen good things with Managed Comics, and I saw that they have a hub now, so
Right.
that's going to make it a lot easier to get the books entered in. But we were contacted by crap, I just forgot the name of it. It's the other online place to you can enter in your comics yourself. They were like, yeah, because I forget the name of it, Legion or something like that, a League of Comics, League
Okay.
of Geeks or something like that. They were like, oh
I've
yeah,
heard of those guys.
yeah. He's like, oh yeah, we need to get your books in here. I'm like, okay, we'll put them in there. He's like, well, you have to do that. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean I have to enter these books in all by myself, man? That's 13 books. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's the one reason with most of them, they if you have an indie title, you know what? Yeah, you're gonna have to put your book in. But for the most part, I wouldn't mind putting your book in or their book in, but it would be more detrimental to my time if I had to put your book in along with every other Marvel and DC book in. You
Right.
know, to enter in a few new books, you know, get some nice pictures of it, you know, get a snapshot. Because I just did my buddy Ray Heights book from Studio Sky Tiger. He had the
Yeah,
character called Midnight Tiger, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Mm.
Right.
Yep.
I know,
and,
right? Yeah.
and I told Ray, I was like, hey, dude, send me a just a snapshot on who your character is and a nice picture, and I'm gonna start selling. I mean, I get a lot of walk-ins on it, but you know, I like I said, I wanted to put it on to my online shop to capture some sales on there. And he sent me a nice picture, and he sent me a nice snapshot, and I did all the rest of the work. I did everything, and I put it up. I took the picture, I put the snapshot, I put all the details inside of there that I felt that was going to work for my site, and it's in there now, you know. So
Awesome.
I mean, I don't mind doing that kind of stuff, but it hurts when you like, well, I got to put in Ray's book, I got to put in Marvel's book, I got to put in DC book, I put them in the Image and Dark Horse and IDW and
Mm.
Ignition Press and you know whoever else, Mad Cave, whoever else is down in there.
Mm. Wow. Could imagine that.
Damn, it's a lot of publishers out there.
Yeah.
Hey, dude.
I mean, it's almost imagine if someone had to get when they were putting books in the library, and someone had to manually enter in all those books.
Well, I should certainly hope they're getting paid by the hour.
That's the truth. So I was wondering, Joe, are you because we had another guest on, and I found this question fascinating. Is like, are you currently buying collections from fans, and like, how often do you see some like a collection walk in?
Well, you know what? Right now, a lot of people are selling, you know, and if you have the funds, right now is a good time to buy. You know, I really feel like that because I am so particular because I have like probably 150 going on 160 loan boxes at my own place. I have a ton of comic books. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I have a ton of everything from the golden age to the silver age. But yet out of all those boxes, there's still a lot of stuff I don't have, you know.
Mhm.
And so if you come inside the store with stuff that I'm willing to buy at an exceptionally good price, because I always tell people, you know, my mid is no more than a 50% margin. I got to be able to double my money. So if you have a $200 book, I want to buy it for $100. You know what I'm saying? I've had a few people come in and try to hustle me and haggle me and say, oh, well, I want 140. Well, I'm not buying that book to make $60 off of it. I want to make $100 off of it. You know, I want to double my money back, you know. So when you come in, and then there's some people that don't have a clue what they have, you know, and I think and just as a place of integrity, you just offer them a fair price, or you ask them what are they looking for. You know what I'm saying? If they say they're looking for a couple of $100, you know, you might give them a extra 100 or something like that and go through the book. I had bought a collection from somebody. I gave him $1,000 for it, and he had one. I was really buying the Spider-Man 129, you know, first appearance of the Punisher, you know, a couple of them. But then he had another one in there. I didn't even know he had it. It was in a better condition than the one I loved. So I doubled my money. And those books sold, you know what I'm saying? They're long gone, you know. But when you have, I call it ham for your sandwich, dude. When you got ham in for your sandwich, dude, and I'll buy that collection. You know what I'm saying? I'll invest in something that I know I can turn. Because there's some books I have no doubt that I can turn around and sell. You know, I've had everything in here from first appearance of the Black Panther, first appearance of Brother Voodoo, first appearance of Moon Knight, first appearance. I have Hulk 180 and 181. I've had the first appearance of Silver Surfer, the first appearance of Mephisto. I mean, I've had some books that has not stayed. The first appearance of the Sentinels, the first appearance of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. Books like that, I'll buy in a heartbeat for the right price because I know they'll sell. I know, and plus they just look good sitting in my glass case. You know what I'm saying? When you got those kind of good-looking comic books, you know, people go, "Oh, you got this," and they really know what type of dealer that you are. You know, when they come inside the store.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, because we had this. Well, Marvin, I don't remember this guy. We had one guy come on, and he said he had 1,000 long boxes in his basement that he hasn't even touched.
Woo!
These are collections that he's purchased, and he's just put them in his basement. So we don't have time to even look at them.
Yeah, I probably turn in like that'd be like me. You see me coming down the mountain like looking like Moses, dude. My little chin, my hair being grown down here. I'm not gonna lie though, but I would like literally be rubbing my head. I'm like, I wonder what's in those boxes, boy.
Yeah. He said he had a guy go through like a couple hundred of them, pulled out like 10 or 20 Spider-Man 300s. You know, pulled out like, you know, just what is it? What's the first appearance of Deadpool? He said he pulled out like 12 of those.
Oh, that's New Mutants 99.
Right.
98.
97?
98, yeah.
98? Yeah. I mean, it was one of those, but it was, and he was like, you know, the first appearance of Harley Quinn.
That's in that Batman. That's in that Batman animated series. Yeah, because that's the first issue she appeared in.
Yeah,
dude, I'm a book geek, dude. I know my books, man.
You know, and I was just like, wow. Like, you know, he just said, you know, he just keeps pulling stuff out. And I was just like, you know, and the guy only went through a couple hundred cases, and he still has, he says, another 1,000 of them down there. And I was just like,
wow.
You
know, it's funny you said that because you have to explain to people about comic value, you know, because I had one guy that came to me with 8 long boxes, and I looked at those boxes. He came in in enough time for me because I know how to cross-examine books fast enough, and I know a lot of key books, so I know how to cross-examine books fast enough to say this is $20, this is $10, this is $5, this is $50, this is $100, you know. So out of those 8 boxes, the only book the dude had to me that was worth any value was the first appearance of Spider-Gwen. You know, at that time doing this, I was like, dude, this is the only book you have. And then he had a signed copy by the author of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, you know. And I was trying to explain to people who come in, because I'll ask them what is their expectation of what they want to sell their books for. And then, I can get $1,000 for this. I was like, man, you can barely get $100 for this collection. A lot of these books end up going in dollar bins just to get rid of some of these books, you know. A lot of books from the 90s are like that, you know. And technically, you know, what if out of all those 1,000 boxes, all those books was worth $1 a piece, but then you find one book that trumps everything out of those 1,000 boxes. You find a Action Comic #1 or something like that up in there, which will trump everything. And I was like, and that's the journey of going on looking for these comic books. Sometimes you're going to find gold, sometimes you're not, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you got to know how to pull the nickel and the dime books out of there, the 5, the 10s, the $15 and $20 books, because people are looking for those. I just sold somebody a book today before I closed today, an exclusive cover that Bruce Timm did, a big barter, you know, and it was valued at $20, you know?
Right. No, that's cool.
1,000 Youngbloods #1.
Yeah. Hmm. Are you talking about the new one or the original?
The original one.
Oh, okay.
But you
I'm
probably
pretty sure
could find,
the
you
new
know,
one
because
will
that,
be right next to it pretty soon in the dollar bin.
Yeah.
yeah, because the only books that I'm really starting to see from that era doing any growth right now, I'll probably have to give it to Tom McFarlane Spawn. You know, that book is starting to get a little bit more valuable. And then some of his runs were at such low prints. There's some of those books worth a few $100s. Like I know there's a Spawn 119. It's the true first appearance of Gunslinger. That book is like 115, 120. I have one in my glass case right now. Total underdog book, man. You know, but it's a low print for one, and it's kind of like really the first true appearance of Gunslinger.
Yeah, a buddy of mine who collects Savage Dragon, he says some of that middle run somewhere in there are kind of expensive because there's so
Right.
few of them. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Is
The
this
low
a
print.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
all know the 90s was an overkill in print. I mean, Image Comics was probably like one of the biggest, best things that kind of happened as far as indie books and creators' rights go. But man, dude, the way that the covers and all that kind of stuff, man, and then the lost and found issues that Marvel and DC, I mean, DC would say, okay, let's bring Batman's back and let's kill Superman. You know what I'm saying? But we need to sell some books, you know. And then Marvel, to me, took the biggest hit. I mean, because if you really think about it, Jim Lee sold 8.2 million of the X-Men #1, biggest selling comic book in history. You know, I think second to that was Liefeld's X-Force, then McFarlane's Spider-Man title, dude. And I was surprised to see that the numbers from the X-Force beat the Spider-Man title. I would have trumped Spider-Man over that book, but I think Liefeld made a little bit more sales as far as like numbers than the Spider-Man did. You know, but all three of those guys, you know, are high capacity artists right now, you know. And I mean, McFarlane, they call him the top father now, you know.
Yeah.
And he done went from buying Mark McGuire winning baseball to his own toys. That Jim Lee, he's over at DC, one of the execs, and Rob Liefeld, I think he's still pissed off at Marvel. Right? You know, but
check out his Facebook. Sometimes you'll see how pissed off he is at everything. Everything.
Yeah. I saw. You know, and when you think about, I remember when Deadpool 2 came out. I couldn't help but think hard, you know, and I was talking to Stephen Plack a few months ago because he came to see me inside the store, and he was telling me that he has a good arrangement with Marvel. So, because I said to myself, I say, here you have Domino created by Rob Liefeld, Cable created by Rob Liefeld, and Deadpool created by Rob Liefeld. I like all three of these are his characters, you know what I'm saying? But yet Marvel is probably making buku dollars off of these characters, you know what I'm saying? And like I was like, man, I would be so like lost in the sauce, dude, if they put a movie with three of my created characters on there and I'm only getting probably wood nickels on the dollar on it, you know. And I was like, wow, Rob, like I felt really bad for him because I was like, man, that's crazy, because I know how hard the Schuler family had to fight to get, you know, rights for Superman, you know. I mean, it was a hard fight for them, you know. It took them years, you know. I mean, even with Bob Kane on Batman, I heard there was another creator on that, you know, that was fighting to get, I mean, these characters that you put your heart into and create. That's why I encourage our youth to don't shy away from creating your own character. You never know, you might have the next Batman or Superman, you know, right between those two ears of yours, you know. And I also think that that's where we have to keep our kids encouraged about creativity. That's one of the things my nonprofit does, is looking for that next generation of writers, artists, creators, and readers, you know. And
we just did a panel. We do a panel at the convention every year called From Script to Store, where we talk about going from beginning to the end of comics. And like one thing you always encourage them, like, just go out and do it, man. There's no rules. Yeah. Make it up as you go. I don't care, but just do your thing. Like, don't wait, because you don't want to regret that time where, man, I wish I would have done that, and where I wish I would have created that. Like, just do it. Like, nothing's stopping you but you. That's my whole thing. You're the only thing that's stopping you from doing these things.
Yeah, it's something that, I mean, it's funny I got this off of a freaking Family Guy episode, but Stewie Griffin says something. He says, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. And that stuck to me, dude. I was like, you know what? I like for this to be a comedian TV show, I can rock with that, you know. And that's why you have to give respect to Image, because I mean, look what Image has done for Kirkland, Robert Kirkland. I mean, you know, that's the best thing I think that, you know, Image has with taking in, and I think a lot of these indie companies that follow after Image are companies where you can take your rights to your creation and still have some say so over it and still have some profitability behind it. You know, I think that's dope, dude. Because you know, if you ever go over to Marvel or DC and create a character for them, that's pretty much theirs, except for if you Kevin Grevioux. I don't think that they own all of the Blue Marvel. I could be wrong about that, but that's probably why we have not seen Blue Marvel in any movies or anything like that, man.
Or
because
most
my man
in,
Kevin ain't giving up
comics
his
recently,
man.
either. Like I haven't. Like when's the last time Blue Marvel's been in a comic?
Exactly. You know, I think the last person I saw even write Blue Marvel in the comic was Al Ewing when he was doing like some type of Ultimates or something like that, you know. And then I was reading the other day that he, you know, that you know, I was reading about characters with different disabilities, but then their heroes. They were saying like even Blue Marvel, which I'm gonna ask Kevin about this when I catch up with him. He said that the Blue Marvel has dyslexia. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and you know they're also sitting on the Ultraverse. Yeah.
Yep.
Like I think Prime would be a good character to either an animation or in a movie. Like it's a good character, and you just like doing nothing with it because you don't want to pay someone to use it.
Yeah. Because they were doing the crossovers with Marvel. I remember that, man.
Yeah.
Well, they brought, because I don't remember. I know in the new Ultimates that they brought back Deathhead. You know, I know Deathhead is back to a degree. You know, so yeah, I mean they're trying to pull some characters out the woodworks, but Prime would be a good call. And I think that other guy was Rune.
The vampire.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they still. Wow. I mean, there's so much out there that you can just bring back to the limelight. But really, Marvel is just trying to play absolute game with DC right now. They want to have something equivalent, you know, to what they're doing. That's why they're doing this whole Marvel Midnight stuff. But I said to myself, like, Marvel already did that. I mean, if you really think about it like this, guys, the Maker created the Ultimate Universe. Darkseid creates the Absolute Universe. The Maker has a world run by bad guys where he made all the heroes cease to ever become. Darkseid has a world that's completely ruled by evil, you know, by guys like the Joker. All the bad guys are the big high-end people, runners of this world, you know, and the heroes are the underdog, you know. Now, Ultimate Spider-Man was written by Jonathan Hickman, who I consider as Marvel Jesus, not Deadpool, but Jonathan Hickman goes over there and he saves titles, you know, for Marvel. That was their biggest, that was their flagship book, you know, and then everything else after what the Absolute was Batman and it was Wonder Woman and Superman. They just had a flagship of great writing to go behind, you know, what they were doing at the time. And then the leverage that Marvel had, they just couldn't keep up with that level of just writing. When they said that they were going all in, they really went all in, you know, and Marvel just couldn't keep up with that, you know. So now they're saying like, oh, we need to try to get this going. No, you guys had your chance. So I really feel what Marvel needs to do is stay in Marvel's lane, keep writing great comics, and don't worry about what DC's doing, because when you look at what they're doing too much, you're gonna screw up what you're doing because you're trying too hard to compare with them.
Right. Well, they're getting ready to reboot that universe anyway with that Avengers Armageddon.
Yep.
So new number ones, everyone. New number ones.
Oh yeah, get ready.
That's the well, yeah, I'm gonna say that's the biggest marketing tactic and scheme you can ever fall for, man. Every 15 to 12 issues, we go drop a number one for you.
Yeah.
It's a new beginning, folks.
New beginning, and 42 covers to go with it.
Oh yeah, well, you can't leave that out.
Yeah, but here, let me show you something of a guy who doesn't know his lane. Marvin.
That was a terrible segue. That was
Was it?
that was a JD.
Oh, all right,
Result.
all right. I'm sorry.
That was kind. That was.
Oh,
That
that's
was
the guy. I
Funny
saw
at all.
him when I was looking. Is this your character, Marvin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was looking at him on when I was waiting to get when I hit the hyperlink to the page to get in. And give me a little snapshot on who this guy is.
Sure. So this is volume 3 of The Edge, God's Thunder. For those who don't know, God's Thunder is the organization from the first issue of The Edge who don't like anyone that has superpowers. So they want to eliminate them. They want them gone off the planet. So how do you fight someone who has powers? You don't have them. You get someone with powers to go after them. So this is why you bring in this guy. This is Kyrad. He's an 8-foot tall, muscular monster with a hammer that he can throw, but he can't pull it back to him because we're not allowed to do that.
Okay.
So they kind of pull this, like the guy he shows up in earlier issues and they see him restrained and they let him loose. They're like, we'll let you loose, but you have to do what we want you to do. But he has his own agenda.
Okay. That sounds pretty dope, dude.
Yeah. So if you don't know what Edge is, it's a drug that gives people the powers, but then the more they use the powers, the closer they are to death or insanity.
I see. And this is just for a temporary amount of time. None of this stuff is like a permanent type of thing. Like
it depends on how you use the power. So you see the character here in the middle, Chaos. He's infected. I see how his skin is turning.
Right.
So he uses his powers, doesn't care. So it's kind of infecting and enveloping him. It's eating away at him.
That's kind of cool.
All right. Cool. When are you launching, Marvin?
So remember I said I was launching on the 9th?
Yeah.
I'm not launching until after I get back from HeroesCon. Next week.
You're getting back from when?
HeroesCon. I'm going to HeroesCon this coming weekend. So I'm launching after HeroesCon. So right. What is that? The 16th?
Yeah.
16th for sure. For sure. 16th.
For sure.
Write it down.
Okay. And then don't forget.
Well, how can I get my hands on a chance to read what's going on with here? So if it's something, it looks like something I can push here at the Comic Den. But I want to be able to read it.
Some copies.
Yeah, I want to be able to check that out. I've seen things like something new. Like I said, those characters look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing about it is that even they have these powers, they're not fully in control of them because in our universe, I don't think you can control shooting lasers from your ass. And then even with that, the powers have weaknesses built into them. So they're exploitable. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then how many pages is the trade?
The trade is 122 pages. So it's issues 10, 11, 12, 13, and then 14 is a double size issue. It was originally 10 to 15, but then I just threw everything in the issue 14.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
So wait a minute. It's how many books is in the trade?
10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 is double sized.
Okay. Well, is that what it starts at? Is there a number 1 to this?
Yeah. No, so this is volume 3.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
Right.
So the volume 1 is Revenant volume. So it's right there. So those are like the beginning covers of the series. So if you scroll down, so go back down again. Keep going past the panel.
Now, what is your involvement in this, Marvin? Are you the writer?
Yes, I'm the writer.
Artist.
So I'm the writer. So that's volume 1 right there, and then the next one that's volume 2. Yeah, I'm the writer. The artist is Mark Louis Vunkukiat.
Okay,
and I've been working with him since 2007. So we've been working on this book for that amount of time.
No, I explained that to young writers and artists. I was like, the synergy between a writer and an artist has to be, there. Because he's taking your words and you can give direction towards that. But the artist is turning your words into action in just a few panels, and that is a powerful relationship when you have a good artist that you have a relationship with. Because, man, has your artist ever said, hey, if I add this extra panel, if I do this like this will add more substance to what you're writing? Or does he just follow exactly to the bone and nail to what you want him to do?
I gave him complete control over the camera.
Okay.
So I'll write something, and if he wants to change it, he has like freedom to do as he chooses.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's a good relationship, because I've studied book writing, and how, in the panels you write the point of view that you wanted to go to and stuff like that. But I also when I was studying this, they were saying like the synergy between the writer and the artist. Sometimes a 6-panel page can become a 7-panel page because, that writer, that artist may say, hey, man, I love what you're doing, but this will explain this a lot better with this extra panel on there. And I think that's raw, good synergy between a writer and an artist.
Yeah, and he's made a lot of change. So in issue 1, there's the one character Interim she can create portals. She can like throw parts of her body through the portal. So she could punch somebody, kick somebody through the portal. And the way he drew it is the way she's hitting them, the panels are moving in that direction.
Okay.
So the panels are like sliding off the page as she's doing this. And I'm like, I didn't write that in the script. That wasn't in the script. So he's not sticking to static panels. It's like he's like open panel, closed panel. The panels are the action is moving the panels along with it. So like I just like, do your thing, man, because just because I say point the camera here doesn't mean I'm right.
Right.
All right, cool. So, all right, another what is it? 9 days.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, very nice. Everybody go sign up now. All right. Awesome. All right, well, gentlemen, we made it to the hour mark. Joe, thank you for showing up, man. This was fantastic. A great conversation. Love it.
Oh, thank you guys for inviting me. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate hanging out with you guys for an hour plus. And maybe there'll be an opportunity to either meet you guys in person or do this again.
Awesome.
I want both.
Me too.
So, Joe, do me a favor. Please let everybody know where they can find you in your store.
Okay, yes, folks. The Comic Den is located in Los Angeles, more of a place called Ladera Heights. We're 4912 West Slauson Avenue. We're open 7 days a week, with the exception of Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, where you have tailored hours, 12 to 5 on Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays. Wednesdays we're open from 11 to 7. Saturdays we're open from Wednesdays and Fridays we're open from 11 to 7. Thursdays and Saturdays we're open from 11 to 6. And you can visit us on social media or follow us on social media, TikTok or Instagram, as well as if you want to go onto the Comic Den LLC and join our pull list or see what comics we have in our shop for you to be able to purchase, folks. It's all great, appreciated business and added love to the community.
All right, cool. Marv?
As always, comicsburg.com or theedgecomic.com. You can get from the socials from there. And next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I will be at Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, cool. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Next week, I'll be back here with the regularly scheduled program, the regular crew, interviewing and talking to a bunch of indie creators. So that'll be awesome. And like I said, one more time, Joe, it's fantastic to have you on. Thank you for showing up. And just remember, everybody, keep read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
All right.